Welcome back to the studio. I'm Chris. We're gonna shoot another episode of Clay Doctor today, or Dr. Clay. I'm not even sure what we're calling it these days, but I have a special guest here.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm one of the students here at the Clay Co-op. I've been in the practicum for quite some time now. Chris has been my teacher through the whole thing. He's been incredibly helpful. I have been having issues with S-cracks in my pot, and I hope you can help me. I think it might be multiple things I might not be getting right or missing, and hopefully you can help diagnose it.
Awesome. I'm here for you. We're going to work through it. I want to talk a little bit about what causes S-cracks. I want to talk a little bit about some theories I have also. The primary reason for S-cracks are compression. There are little particles, little platelets, and those platelets are kind of like compressed together or not, depending on, where they are in your clay. The closer those are together, the less shrinkage occurs. The less shrinkage occurs, the less stress occurs, right? My thoughts about S-cracks start with your wedged piece of clay. So when we're wedging clay, we are actually like stacking those particles and aligning those particles with one another. And I wedge in a ram's head method, so my particles align in a spiral this direction. I was always taught that you would put this on the wheel with the alignment going in the spin of the wheel. Our clay will throw really well that way, but I've actually found through personal experience that by putting the clay on in a confused particle orientation, so my particles are going this way, it's less likely to all be going in the same direction, and it makes it less likely for that S-crack to occur. I'm taking my piece of clay and I'm going to compress it like this so that my particles are in opposition to the wheel's spin. All of our particles are moving in a spiral counterclockwise. When we're pulling out from the center, we have this spin that is going in a counterclockwise, which is why we get an S-crack that usually is with the direction of the spin of the wheel. Katie's S-crack is sort of like, seems like a bit of a hybrid. On the inside, it's straight up and down, and on the outside, it sort of has a little bit of irregularity in its crack. This could also be because of irregular wall thickness. I notice you have a beautifully trimmed foot here, but that does tell me that this center section could be thinner than this outer wall section. This might dry first, and then as it's drying, it may be drying irregularly and putting tension and potentially cracking. Sometimes the horse comes before the carriage, sometimes the carriage comes before the horse. Do you think maybe you trimmed this because you felt like it was bottom heavy, or do you always want to have a trimmed foot on the bottom of your pot?
I usually always, when it comes to mugs, like to have a foot just somewhere somebody can rest their finger on it where it's not hot.
Yep, so they can kind of like hold it.
Yeah. So that's why it's a baby one, because I didn't have a ton to trim away.
Yep. When we drop our hole, we are going to leave a little more material in the bottom with the intention of trimming a foot. So we would want that thickness to be slightly thicker than our wall's thickness. Our goal is equal wall thickness, but like it's not reality. And also we're using stoneware clays that are like reasonably forgiving. And so usually, we don't have to be so precise with it. So now we're getting into the first part of what really, I think, solidifies and solves S-cracks. And that is that we want to compress our floor. A lot of potters will compress their floor from the inside out. But in reality, if we think about this particle compression, it's going counterclockwise. So if we compress from the outside in, we are effectively pushing those particles back into center, making the bottom center of this more densely packed with particles. The more densely packed with particles it is, the less shrinkage occurs. The less shrinkage occurs, the less likely it is for us to get a crack. I'm going to use my pointer finger with my sponge around it. You don't have to use a sponge, but I prefer to use a sponge. And I am gently compressing from the outside in to center. And I'm just slowly going from the outside in. People push straight down, but you don't really want to push straight down. you want to push sort of like diagonally into the center. You know me a little bit better than maybe the viewers at home. I'm a little bit OCD, so I will usually do this like 3 to 5 times. And again, I don't know if that's because that's what like makes me feel good. I tend to go at least 3 times into center, compressing from 3 o'clock at the bottom of the wall, gently past the center point. I think about your idea of spending a long time coning up and down. You may be unintentionally imparting more water into your clay, which then sets you up for failure later in the process. You might be doing yourself a little bit of a disservice, by really fixating on that centering. I'd also love to do this virtually. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to help with those things. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. Thanks.
How was your visit to the clay doctor?
It was fantastic. I expect nothing less from Chris.
Oh.
Detailed, and any question I threw at him, he gave me an answer for. So
I don't always have the answer. Maybe sometimes my answers aren't right, but we work through it together. We discover together.
I love that humility for you.
Just trying to do the best I can.